Hello students, in today's session we will discuss how to design a built-up column. Earlier we have calculated strength as well as we have designed a single column as well as strut members. Now in this session we will discuss how to design a built-up column. Now built-up column is a column in which we use more than two sections I can say we combine two sections to use as a single column as an integrated structure. Okay, so when we combine such a two sections to and we build them as a column, what procedure we follow and what are the rules and regulations for it, that will be gonna discuss in this session. So let's read few points before starting our calculation. Okay, so the basic theory behind this topic is that why do we require to use more than one or two sections combinedly as a column, right? The question is why. Now the answer for it is, whenever you use a built-up section, the main purpose behind it is it will be taking more load than the single angle or single section. Okay, so see here there are four reasons why we do so. First is built-up sections are preferred instead of rolled sections, instead of one single section for a column in the industrial buildings, because span and height of our industrial buildings are very large. Built-up sections are designed such that the radius of gyration about two principal axes is same. Now see here, first is very easy to understand that span and a height of an industrial building, all of you must have seen the industrial buildings in your locality, and while if you observed, these industrial shades are of a long span and they carry only the roof at top, but they are of long span, and sometimes at roof they carry some arrangement for crane movement. Correct. So when we are designing something for the great height or for the long span, in that case for such a structures we need a large heavy load carrying columns. Correct. And for that we will use, instead of single rolled steel sections, we will prefer to use double angle sections or built up sections. Okay. Now in the second case, built-up sections are designed where radius of gyration about two principal axes. Now what is radius of gyration? Of course we have used it many times, which is calculated under root I by A. It is used for the calculation of designing and for the calculation of slenderness ratio. But the main purpose here is to use built-up section is that we design the built-up sections like the radius of gyration about two principal axes. Which are the two principal axes? In X and minor and major principal axis of a column, right? So in the major and minor principal axis, if the radius of gyration is required to be keep same, in that case we cannot modify our single rolled section, right? Therefore we will use a double angle or built up column to fulfill this condition. Okay, now why do we require to fulfill or satisfy that condition? We will discuss it while solving the numerical or while designing such a built up column. Okay, so wait for it. For if you are not clear with this second point, I will clear it with the help of numerical. Okay, now next is lacing and battening. So what is lacing and battening? If I want to show you, let's suppose this is your one I section and this is your second I section you are using for column purpose. Okay, so this is your second I section. Now on this I section, they are together handling the load coming upon it, right? So they should be connected with each other, and to connect them we use such a horizontal plates which connecting two single angles, and they make it as a built up section. Okay, so this horizontal plates can come into two different patterns. One pattern is, let's suppose this is two eye angles and we want to connect them. You can connect them with certain degree or with some angle, okay. Otherwise you can connect them in a flat pattern like this. All right, so when you connect it with the angle, we called it as a lacing. Whereas when you connect it horizontally without any degree of angle, that kind of a plates are called it as a battening. So why do we provide lacing and battening? When there is a two different angles combined together, standing together as a column, we need to connect them to make it as a built up. To connect them, we required a plates, and those plates, when placed in a degree certain angle, then we called it as a lacing. If we use it horizontally flat, then we called it as a battening, okay. Now lacing and battening in a built up columns restrain lateral buckling of a column. So whenever we use single roll sections, see here, if I am using only the section like this which is hinged at both the ends, in this case if I am using column with a single rolled section, the lateral buckling, of course our long column shows failure in a terms of buckling, right? So buckling cannot be avoided because there is no horizontal stiffeners to stop the buckling, to stop the horizontal deformation, right? Therefore we need to add some stiffness in the horizontal direction. And how we will do that? To carry the heavy load, we will first choose two different sections, which may be angle section, eye section, channel section. It can be anyone, any section you can use for a column. The only case is if you are placing this two angle section, you need to place a plates to connect them and make them as a built up angle, and those plates are helpful to what? To stop its lateral buckling, to stop the lateral buckling. It stiffens our column sections in the axial direction, and lateral buckling is avoided. All right, next is finally, design strength of a built up section is much more than the available rolled steel section. Okay, now let's suppose I'm repeating this again, that built up sections are used where there is a need of carrying higher loads, right? And if there is a higher load coming across a section, that load need to be taken care of by what? Sections which we provided, which we designed. But if the load is coming so higher that only one rolled up section is not suitable, in that case what we will do? We will build up such a two sections, and that two sections will give us a design strength PD, which is greater than the single section. Understood? That's the thing why we use built up sections. All right, now how to design a laced column and how to go for a lacing and battening and for the built up column. So let's start our step by step procedure. We will understand first steps required to follow, and then we will move towards solving the problem. So let's see here the first step says that design compressive stress FCD need to be assumed, and that range is given over here, which is between 125 to 185 MPa. For Fy, 250 MPa of a steel. Fy is what? Yield stress. Yield stress of a steel is 250 MPa. In this range, if you are using steel where the yield stress is equals to 250 Newton per mm square, then for that kind of that steel, design compressive stress FCD should be taken from this range, 125 to 185 MPa. Now we have designed single rolled section column also, and in that whatever procedure we followed, we are repeating over here. The only change which is coming ahead, that I will mention you separately, I will highlight it for you. Otherwise the designing of a column remains, the few steps or the basic steps required are remains same from single roll to built up column. All right, So range for laced column, the laced column means what? The column which is provided plates or stiffening plates like this, which laterally supports our section, avoids lateral deformation, as well as help us to combine two different sections, and they will carry a heavy load, help us to carry a heavy load. All right. Now this section, once we assume FCD, we need to select a section from steel table, correct? And to choose steel section from the steel table, we need to understand what is the area required for. On the basis of area required, we will select the section from steel table. Here the area required will be calculated. How we will calculate it? With the help of stress formula. Stress formula is force per unit area, and from there we will try to calculate area. So area will be, this FCD is a compressive stress, correct? It is a compressive stress that should be equals to what? Compressive force divided by area. So we want area, so area on this side and P by FCD. FCD we already assumed, that is from the range of 125 to 185, that is given to us, or that we assumed from our side, and factored axial compressive force. This is the force mentioned in your question. They will mention you that this much force is coming across your section, and you need to design your section against this loading. Okay, now once you come to know what is area required, you will select a section from the steel table, which can be I, L or channel section, which can be a I section, angle section or channel section, with or without plate. Okay, next is, once you calculate area and selected a section from your steel table, steps comes is to calculate FCD of that section. Because we have assumed FCD, on the basis of that FCD we calculated area required. Now the section we have selected, from that whatever section we have assumed or selected, that need to be cross verified that whatever FCD we assume is provided by that section or not, correct? To do so, we will take a help of IS code, where this IS code help us to calculate FCD value. There are two ways to calculate FCD. You can go with the clause number 7.1 mentioned in your IS code. Otherwise, you will choose to go with the table, and tables are mentioned again in your IS code. Table number 9, A, B, C and D. For that, we to use here in this question, I am using table, and if I choose to select table, on the what basis I will select that, right? So to choose or to select a table value, I need to understand what is slenderness ratio of the section I have chosen for designing. I will first calculate that effective, I will first calculate slenderness ratio required effective length divided by radius of gyration. See, that we have already done many of the times in previous sessions. So once you calculate slenderness ratio for your section, you need to multiply it with the factor 1.05. With the factor 1.05. Now what is this 1.05? This is a factor which we are adding to take care of, or to account for shear deformation effect. What is shear deformation effect? When there is an equal and opposite force acting across a section, the section will show shear failure. The shear failure need to be avoided in the columns, because column is a slender section of your structure, and it has a great height, and it is so thin that once if the heavy loads are coming across it, and if there is a wind effect also, wind loading is there, it is high-rise structure, in that case you need to take care of a shear deformation. I hope you are getting my point. And if we need to account this shear deformation, we have to raise our slenderness ratio by some factor which is 1.05. So your column slenderness ratio is got converted into effective slenderness ratio. And how to calculate effective slenderness ratio? You need to multiply your column slenderness ratio with some factor which is 1.05. That is the major difference from single rolled column design to built up column design. Okay. Next is your calculation of FCD. For that you can choose a value from table number 9. A, B, C, you need to interpolate if your slenderness ratio is not giving you definite value from the table. You need to interpolate it and find out. Once you calculate FCD, you will use this formula PD is equals to AG into FCD. This is we used many times previously. AG is a gross area of your section, and FCD which we calculated with table number 9, A, B, C and D, whichever is suitable, and it depends upon your slenderness ratio, right? Once you select your PD, once you calculated your PD, then the next step is to how to arrange that built up sections. I am saying that I am using a columns, two different I sections as a column, this I section and this one I section. So how am I going to arrange it? Am I going to arrange it at a distance 2 meter, 3 meter, or how much it is? So how to decide that? For that there is a condition. To make our section economical, to make our built up section economical, the section needs to satisfy one condition. And what is that condition? The radius of gyration of y axis is increased in such a way that it is more or less equal to the radius of gyration of ZZ axis. What they want to say is that radius of gyration in x and y axis need to be keep equal. And how to do that? That is achieved by spacing a section such a way that the RZZ becomes R minimum. RZZ or RXS, as I said many times, this RZZ is the radius of gyration in XX direction. Sometimes they represent it as a ZZ. Alright, so to equate this RYY equals to RZZ, we have to achieve it by keeping or by adjusting the spacing between these two I sections or two channel sections which are going to be used as a built up of our column. Okay. Now let's try to solve one question on the basis of what we learned previously. So here the question is, design a built-up column 10 meter long to carry factored axial load of 1080 kilonewton. Okay, so they want us to design a built-up column which carries a factor load of 1080 kilonewton. And the column is restrained in position but not in a direction and at both the ends. Okay, so they said end condition of this column is restrained in position but not in a direction at both the ends. मतलब क्या हुआ? They have restrained the horizontal deformation but not the direction. Not the direction means what? Rotation is allowed. Okay. For this condition, I hope you remember the K value. K value is mentioned in table number 11 on page on IS code, page number 44. Okay, so go through it, learn the conditions, try to remember it, otherwise IS code is there to help you with those values. So for this condition which says that horizontal deformation or horizontal movement, horizontal displacement is restrained but rotation is allowed, that is hinge kind of a situation. So both the ends are hinged in this column, and it is carrying 1080 kilonewton loading, right? So you can see the difference. When we were designing a single column, a single rolled section as a column, at that time the maximum load was of 500 kilonewton or up to a 600 700 kilonewton, but here it is more than 1000 kilonewton load coming across our section, and that's why we need to design two sections as a build-up. Okay, or we need to go with the build-up column. Now first step is to calculate area required. From there we will select our section, but to calculate area required we need to assume FCD range. We know from that range I have selected the FCD value, or I have assumed, in the better words I will say, I have assumed FCD of value what, 150 MPa, correct. This 150 MPa is need to put in the formula above, which is, see here, 150 MPa, that is I assumed, and you have to put this in P by FCD formula. From there you can calculate area required. Yes, once you calculate area required, you need to go into your steel table. Here it is the area required, and this area required 1080 divided by 150, which is the assumed FCD value, told us required area is 7200 mm square, 7200 mm square, that is large area. And to cater this requirement, we will try two ISMC 300 at 351.2 Newton per meter. What is 351.2 Newton per meter? That is a weight. And what this is the two angles I am using. Why I am choose two angles? Why did I choose? Because I am designing a built-up section. And which type of section I am using? Okay, Indian Standard medium column. Okay, so once you selected this, on what basis I have selected? I have checked the area of this section and I multiply it with the 2, and if it is satisfying my condition, I will choose that. Okay, next is effective slenderness ratio. Of course, next step is to calculate slenderness ratio, so that we will choose a table from IS code. There are a total 4 tables, 9A, 9B, 9C and 9D. A, B, C and D. Which one is to use is depends upon the slenderness ratio, and slenderness ratio depends on what? KL by RXX. Okay, so effective length KL is 1 into 10 to the power 3, 10 into 10 to the power 3, where L is length, and length is mentioned into your problem. That column is of how much length? 10 meter long. And on the condition of column is restrained in position but not in direction, I have chosen the K factor, and that is 1. Okay, once you calculate K into L, which is effective length, divided with the radius of gyration in the XX direction. Okay, once you calculate lambda for the column, you have to convert it into lambda effective. How to convert it? Multiply it with the factor 1.05, and finally we come to know that slenderness ratio, effective slenderness ratio is 88.90. Okay, now the next step is design compressive stress. How to do that? Design compressive stress, FCD. FCD will be calculated on the basis of table or on the basis of clause 7.1. There are two steps, clause 7.1 or on the basis of table. Which one is the table? Table 9A, B, C and D. These are the tables. Once you now for the selection of table also you have a two requirements. If I am choosing a table number 9, I must know what is the lambda or slenderness ratio and what is the buckling class. Slenderness ratio we already calculated. Now what left is a calculation of buckling class. Buckling class for the channel section is C. Okay. So where does this buckling class mention? Again in your IS code on page number 40. On the page number 44 there is a table for the buckling class, and that table number is 10. Okay, in IS code. Which one is the IS code? IS 800 2007. Okay, थोड़ा check करना मेरे साथ. You need to go into this tables, because without these tables and without understanding how to select the values from this table, you cannot go with the designing. Okay, so keep in touch with the tables, IS codes and all the clauses which I mentioned during my session, and I hope you gone through the many clauses which I have already taught you in the previous session. So let's come to the scale calculation of FCD. FCD is 122.64, and how do I calculated that? From the table number 9C, because here the buckling class is C. From A, B, C, D, the A stands for buckling class A, B stands for buckling class B. From 9A, B, C and D, this A, B, C, D is stands for the buckling class. The buckling class for the section I have chosen is a C, and I already discussed with you how to classify our section with this different buckling classes. Okay, so I hope you understood that. Now here my buckling class is C, so I have chosen 9C table from the IS code, and from there I have got one value of FCD, that is not direct value, because my value falls between 87 and 89, right? It is 88.9, so it falls between 80 and 89, 88 and 89. So I need to interpolate between the FCD value for 88 and FCD value for 89. I hope you have gone through this. I have already taught you plenty of the examples based on it, so I'm skipping that part. FCD, once you calculate, interpolate it, and final value for FCD over here is 122.64. Once you calculate FCD, next step is calculation of design compressive strength, PD. PD will be equals to FCD into effective area. What is FCD? FCD will be 122.64 into 9128. 9128 is what? Effective area, right? Effective area, or you can take it as a gross area of a section. Okay. Once you calculate your FCD, next task is to check it with the force coming across a section. Once you calculate the FCD, you must check it with the force coming across the section. So here FCD is coming 119.54, and the force coming across is lesser than that. Therefore, whatever section we have chosen is safe, and it will withstand the forces coming across it. Now the question is how to arrange those two I sections, because we have to choose here two channel sections. How to use that, at what distance or at what spacing they need to be placed. Okay, so for that this 6 step is used. In this you need to use RYY equals to RZ, or as I said RXX or RZZ, which is radius of gyration in XX direction, which needs to be equated with radius of gyration in YY direction. But instead of doing, because we have direct value of radius of gyration in our steel tables, what we will do is we will go with the I value, because radius of gyration, how do we calculate that? With the help of I by A. This is the formula, right? And here the area remains constant for two of these sections, so what is changed is the I. Therefore I will equate it. YY is equals to IZZ. Now IZZ will be same for both of the I sections, because along the XX axis, your channel is symmetrical. Your channel section which you have provided, it's symmetrical along the ZZ, or you can say XX axis. But in YY axis, our channel section is not symmetrical. In YY axis, our channel section is not symmetrical, right? And therefore, we need to take a help of parallel axis theorem. We need to take a help of parallel axis theorem. And what is parallel axis theorem? The moment of inertia of any section away from its of a complete section, that will be a moment of inertia of that section plus area into h square. Okay, I hope you remember this formula. This is the parallel axis theorem. You have learned it in the SOM. Okay, so in the SOM you already gone through what is parallel axis theorem. I will remind you, if the I section, CG of your I section lies here, but CG of your section, built up section, lies somewhere else from it. So this difference is h, and area of a section which you are using, that is the area over here, and IYY of the section you are using, that is IYY over here. Okay, so what I said, a parallel axis theorem is a channel section. If I want a moment of inertia at some axis other than its own axis, then that difference is measured as a h, and to calculate at this axis I want to take a help of moment of parallel axis theorem. And according to parallel axis theorem, this is IYY plus area into this whole term is a h square, multiply it with the 2, because we are using two channel sections. Once you put all the values, now IYY is mentioned in your steel table, A is mentioned in your steel table, CYY is mentioned in steel table, as well as IZZ for your section is mentioned into the steel table. Everything is mentioned in your steel table. Put those values over here, open the steel table, go to the page number, get that all the properties put over here in this formula, and you can come across a spacing you need to be used for your arrangement, right? So you need to place your two channel sections at a spacing 183.10 mm. So this is the basic arrangement we have done for the built up column. Now I have placed these two columns like this, toe to toe. This is the toe of your channel section, and I have used this channel section toe to toe. Okay, you can arrange it like this, back to back. Okay, so there you can go with the two different arrangement, toe to toe or back to back. And then you have to apply a plates over here, that is what, lacing or battening. Here you have to apply a plates over here, that is what we call lacing or battening, correct? And how to provide this lacing and battening, at what degree of angle we are providing it, what will be its thickness and what will be its spacing, how many numbers of lacing or battens required, that we gonna discuss in the next session. Okay, so write it down, this everything in your notebook, and keep studying it. Thank you so much.